It's now time for What's Up Asheville, sponsored by the City of Asheville, with the host, Mr. Sam Parada, and here he is.
Hello Asheville, how are you today? My name is Sam Parada and this is What's Up Asheville on WRES 100.7 FM. Today I have two guests with me, Lucy Crown, the Transportation Planning Manager for the city, and Anna Sexton, an urban planner for the Transportation Department as well. How are you guys today?
Sam, happy to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. And today, so I have not yet done a show on transportation. I know Ricardo back in the day also interviewed Lucy, so it's your second time here.
Yeah, when we were doing the GAP plan, right?
The GAP plan. Yeah, so I'm not very knowledgeable in things transportation, so I'll be stopping you every now and then to, explain a little more in detail, because you do so much more than what the public would imagine you do. And I think it's a good time to educate and, inform, as well as go over the ongoing projects that you have. I know you have a very important survey you want to talk about. But before we jump into that, Anna, do you want to tell us what you do and, what day-to-day looks to you for the city?
Sure. So as Sam mentioned, I'm an urban planner in the Transportation Department, and I think in the most simple terms, that means that I work on projects that involve sidewalks, that involve pedestrians, greenways, folks on bicycles, thinking about how we can get people to move around the city in a safe way, regardless of how they want to travel.
And how, what do you say 1 through 10, how much time do you spend in the office? So do you ever go out in the field to, do measurements, or I don't know what planners do?
Sure, yeah,
exactly.
We do. Lucy and I had a walking meeting this morning, actually, to talk about different projects that we're working on, but also just walk downtown. It's always really helpful for us to observe the real world in real time and see how people are moving about the city and observe trends and patterns. So largely, I would say that I'm, behind a desk or at a desk behind a computer screen. But day to day, it's just working on typically about a handful of larger projects and then offering support on other projects that our department works on.
Sounds good. And how about you?
I do a lot of the same things as Anna. However, I oversee the division that we work in, so I work on a higher level with other departments' projects, bringing in the transportation's work into other planning and urban design projects, perhaps, for an example. And we work a lot with public works and follow stormwater projects to make sure the sidewalks will be built correctly and any ADA issues are addressed with that, so we can keep improving ADA issues around the city.
So,
and I work with like the MPO and state agencies too.
So when you say ADA issues, can you give me an example of a recent?
So ADA stands for American Disabilities Act, and it has to do with all of the things that help people with disabilities move around the city better, which helps all of us, right?
Yes.
So things like crosswalks and lighted intersections where you can press a button and it will tell you when the good time to cross is. Access to bus stops so that you can wheel your wheelchair or your walker or your stroller to the bus stop, things like that. It's never ending. It's hilarious to watch us when we're doing our walking meetings too. We really stop at intersections and geek out on the grade of the ramp into the street and stuff, and take pictures.
Do you have a little measuring tape that you take out?
Sometimes,
yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. The cars this morning were very gracious and waving for us to cross, and we're like, no, we're not done surveying the scene yet. So there's lots to look at.
Do you wear a little vest? Those
Sometimes.
Reflectors? Yeah. Okay.
We meet the DOT folks. They're always in their vests.
So when you see Lucy and Anna out in the streets wearing their vests, you know that they're hard at work.
Come say hi.
Yeah.
So I want to go back real quick to something you mentioned. You say that you're the manager for your division. So that means that transportation as a department is divided into
Yeah, we
divisions.
have multiple divisions in the department. So we're the transportation planning division. There's also the transit division, which deals exclusively with the buses, and that's more than a full-time job for multiple people. And then we have the parking division, who deal with all of the parking spaces in Asheville. And then the engineering department, which also has the sign shop. So all the street signs, stop signs, things that you see mounted on our
Oh.
streets, our sign shop is part of the engineering division.
I thought that was part of the DOT.
Well, sometimes it is.
Sometimes
but
that's yeah, just a very confusing.
yeah, it
A
is.
lot of different layers.
Yeah, and the transportation engineering also works with, issues that people need help with to make the road safer.
Yeah.
And they also review any of the projects coming into town and make sure that they build the transportation parts around their buildings.
Okay.
Correctly.
So all the art buses are part of a division within
The transit,
transportation.
right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I've always felt like transportation department simply meant, the buses and the routes and, fixing maybe a pothole, but then again, that might also be the DOT. So
Yeah.
it is good to know that there's so much involvement in all the many different aspects of, keeping Asheville streets nice and safe, and that they follow the ADA. What do you want to call that?
The Americans with Disabilities Act. So
Yes.
yeah, when we say ADA, that's what we're referring to.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so I want to jump into the survey real quick,
Sure.
because I know that's a very important piece of today and it's ongoing currently. So this survey is for the College Patton Bike Lane Project. And Anna, tell me all about it.
Tell you about the project. I'd be
Or
happy
the
to.
survey
And the survey.
and everything.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and lead off with the project, and we'll wrap up with the survey. So, right now, we are the transportation department. We're working on developing a design for adding bike lanes downtown. And that design includes adding bike lanes on a segment of Patton Avenue, starting around Pritchard Park and going to essentially Pack Square, or Pack Place. And then also on College Street, starting at its intersection with Market Street, or I'm sorry, Spruce Street, and going all the way west to Pritchard Park. So this is an exciting project because it is really a keystone in adding protected bike facilities in our downtown core. Folks who drive on Asheville streets, who walk, who also bike, you see that we do have some bike lanes going into downtown, particularly on Cox Avenue or Lexington and certain other places, but we don't really have a good east-west connection for dedicated bike facilities.
Yep.
And the College Patton bike lanes, they're going to be a little different than other bike lanes that you see around town because they're situated or placed on the left side of the road. And the reason that we can do that is because both of those roads are one-way roads.
Okay.
So it's not going to conflict with two-way traffic.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of study done to determine that putting them on the left side of the road was going to be safer than putting them on the right side of the road.
Safer for the bikers and pedestrians as well, I would imagine.
Safer for everyone, right. So safer for the bicyclists because they have less what we call conflict points with bus stops, with driveways, other things where they could come into conflict with a vehicle.
Makes sense.
And then also safer for that same reason for folks in cars, because they will be coming into conflict less with folks on bikes.
Yeah. One of my biggest fears is just, that moment where I might potentially hit someone on a bike because I didn't see them or because there's just not enough room. So I'm really happy that, especially downtown, can get pretty busy as well. no, let's just make Asheville safer for everyone.
That's right. Yeah. And I think one thing that's also exciting about this that you might not pick up on just from the project name itself is that it does improve safety for pedestrians too, for people walking around downtown. It part of the project or the sort of design components include making some of the crosswalks more high visibility so that they're easier to see, and also creating a buffer between the cars that are traveling on the streets and the sidewalk through that bike lane. We really do think that it's a design that's safer for everybody that wants to make their way downtown, and it also gives people safer options to travel how they might want to.
And right now, what phase of the project are you in?
Right now, we are going through the final phase of public and community engagement. So we had a draft design that we presented to the public. We heard feedback that we needed to do some more engagement to potentially tweak that design to make it work better for everybody. And so we held a public event 4 weeks ago today at the Collider downtown, where folks could come and give us feedback and learn about the project. But as follow-up to that, we also have a public survey that is available on the project page, and we're collecting responses to that survey through Monday, June 5th. So,
how long is the survey? Do you have any quick questions that you might give us examples of?
I don't remember off the top of my head how many questions. I would say maybe 10 to 12. Okay. It's short.
How long do you think it takes to take that survey?
5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, 5.
We want to keep surveys short enough so that people don't drop off and they answer all the questions, but want to keep them, have enough questions there so that it's meaningful.
Yes.
And the questions that we're asking on that survey are dealing with, how often you travel on these sections of College and Patton Avenue. What things are important to you when you are traveling? Are you concerned about speeds? Are you concerned about your safety as a pedestrian? Are you concerned about your safety as a bicyclist? Things like that. And also, what types of facilities, if you do bike, or if you might want to bike, what types of facilities would make it more comfortable for you to bike downtown? So
got it. Yeah. But Anna, how do I find the survey?
The most important part.
The most important part.
So the survey is on the city's project page, and the easiest way to get there is to just go to ashevillennc.gov, and that's the main page for the city's website. You'll see a button in the top right corner that says projects. And you can click on that button, and all of the active projects that the city is working on right now are essentially on that page, and they're listed in alphabetical order. So you can scroll down, you'll look for the one that says College Patton Bike Lanes Project, click on that, and then you'll have a bunch of information about the project at your fingertips, but also there will be a link there to the survey.
So to find the survey, go to the project page called College Patton
Bike Lanes Project.
Bike Lanes Project. Oh, wow, so easy. So it should be right there.
I have a secret. Don't tell Anna. You can Google College Patton Bike Lane Project and come up to the project page.
Yeah, I know.
Hot tip.
Our website might not be super easy to learn right away, so sometimes we do say just Google it. Just
Google it. That
takes you there. So College Patton Bike Lanes Project, and then from the project page itself, it takes you to the survey.
Yeah, there's a survey link at the top.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, at the top, even better.
Yeah. We try to make it easy.
We try to make it easy. Yeah.
Lucy tries to make it even easier.
We want to have more engagement in general with the city. So it's always good to see that, people might ask, how do I get here? It's always good to have, subject experts come to the show and say, this is exactly how you do it. there's no excuses. He's right there for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I answer the survey, and after the June 5th, that's the deadline.
What's next?
What's next?
So it'll take us some time to compile all of that information, but once we do, we'll also look at any changes that we might be able to make to the design based on that feedback that we've received. And we'll ultimately make a presentation to City Council's Public and Economic Development Committee. And then from there, I think the next steps that we envision are developing a bid for construction and implementation. And then ultimately selecting a contractor for that bid and going to council for them to approve that.
And then after all those steps have been taken, then construction can begin.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something that I've seen a lot of discourse about. Oh, the city works so slow. This has taken years. I've seen this project active for since before COVID.
Yeah.
And there's good reasons as to why, and I get it. It's frustrating. It's
hard.
Slow,
it's hard to explain, but yeah, we have to work deliberately as city staff. It's a deliberate process.
It is.
And we have to make sure as much of the community knows about the projects and that we're listening and hearing all kinds of points of view. So it takes a long time to do that.
Yeah, and you're not just finding some random construction company from someone's backyard to do this. You need to take the steps to make sure that it's quality.
Right.
And that's why it takes so long. But at the end of the day, hopefully we deliver a nice, good-looking, useful, and safe, construction, new sidewalks. So I do appreciate, all the time and steps that you take for making sure that Asheville stays safe.
Yeah, thanks. This particular project's been really complicated because, no big surprise, downtown is very busy and there's a lot of businesses in the area that we're talking about, a lot of loading zone needs, and there's street parking, and so all of those things need to be considered. And people who would enjoy riding bikes more or would find riding bikes easier to get around in downtown are not able to do it as easily as if we had a bike network downtown.
Right.
But this is more than a bike project. It really is more about safety of car travel as well as pedestrian and bikes.
And just, as you mentioned, adding that buffer and just making it potentially a nicer drive for drivers and just in general for everyone.
Yeah, so one other sort of pro or check mark in the safety realm is when you have specific facilities or dedicated facilities, it makes it more predictable for everyone. Cars are going to stay in their lane more often than not. Of course, there's always, outliers, same with bikes, etc. But it just makes everybody's movement of travel much more predictable, and that makes things safer for everyone.
Yeah, I know. Hitting rush hour in downtown can be a nightmare by itself with only just cars being involved. So, well, thank you so much for that information, and good luck moving forward with this project. I know you have a long ways to go. Thank
you, and yeah, we're really all of the listeners out there really looking to you to give us some feedback through that survey.
But if there's anything else on this project, I would like to talk a little bit more about other projects that you're dealing with. I know you mentioned before the Asheville Unpaved.
Yeah, Asheville Unpaved is a project that we're working on with community partners who are willing to raise the funds to build dirt trails throughout Asheville. And we're working on 3 pilot projects right now. One is behind Asheville Middle School in Aston Park in the Bacote Branch Forest. The other is at the French Broad River West Greenway area. That is Duke property that the city leases for 99 years. And the third is Azalea Park out by the Nature Center and the soccer fields, and we're in the preliminary phase. Our partners are Asheville on Bikes, Connect Buncombe, and Pisgah Sorba, and they have been doing a great job working with us as partners. Right now we're in the public engagement phase to take a look at these dirt trails that will be good for hiking and biking throughout different areas of downtown.
So this will be new hiking opportunities.
Right, and good connections, kind of shortcut hacks from like the River Arts District to downtown, or where the Greenway is down by the river, just a lot more possibilities of hiking and biking up in there.
That's great. And how wide are you I know you're in the engagement phases, but...
So the trails will be like 3 to 5 feet wide. The ones for hiking, they're called multi-use trails, will be wider. And the ones that we're saying are for bikes are going to be built for bike riding, which means they'll be able to handle the curves better. They'll be like armored curves is what they call them, so that they are built so that they'll be able to take the weight of speeding bikes and things. So it's pretty exciting. I've worked for the city for almost 10 years, and I've been hearing so many places, every corner of town wants dirt trails as part of the Greenway program because they're cheaper to build and faster to put in, and any time that we can provide people in Asheville an ability to get around plus in nature is a really big gift, and I think will be a great added advantage for everyone in the city.
And so you're in the engagement phases. Are there any, public meetings or even a survey out right now, or how are you tackling the engagement right now?
So right now we're just meeting with the people whose properties butt up to the project areas, just to see what concerns they might have and how we can address them before we do a larger public engagement.
Sounds good.
We're slowly starting to talk to business groups and neighborhood groups in the areas too now. And we're vetting the project. So one of them has to go to the Historic Resource Commission. One, we're really needing to clean up some issues with old campsites and things in the forests. And one, we have to get Duke to approve the plan. It's just part of the process. So we're in that vetting stage of the things, and we hope that by this fall we'll be taking it to council for their approval.
And then shortly thereafter, since this sounds like a way faster project, maybe 2024 we'll have some new trails?
Yeah, once we get through, this is the hardest part, right, Anna?
Yeah.
I mean, like the red tape is the hardest part. And
miles
then
long.
Once that's all through, then the trail builder can be hired by our funding partners, and it will take maybe 3 months to get the trails in.
Oh, wow.
But it's been 2 years of planning.
There's a lot of behind the scenes work to make sure that, like you said, we're doing everything that we need to do before ground gets broken. So
I've said this before, but how you've been with us for 10 years now. Have you completed, and this can just be a yes and no question, but have you completed a lot of projects since your time with the city?
My part of a lot of projects is done now, and they're in capital projects. And like the French Broad River West has been something that I worked on from 10 years ago, and it finally got built. So finally getting to the point where the things I've been working on hard ago a couple years ago are going to be put into the ground, and it's so rewarding.
I was just gonna say, it's like, how does that feel to, you have your project charter in front of you, and then it's finally, a real thing that you can literally walk on. Yeah,
it is. It's a rush. It's really great. I just love seeing people out enjoying the new facilities. When we opened the Wilma Dykeman Greenway, it was just pretty amazing.
I bet. So we have a few minutes left. I think this is a good time to talk about the Asheville app. And, this is something that for the listeners we've mentioned a few times before. If you see a pothole,
Yeah.
Go to the Asheville app. If you see something that needs to be done with the city, go to the Asheville app. But at the same time, we have not quite made it to the point where I explain, what goes next in the Asheville app. What happens when you submit that pothole that you drive over all the time going to work, and I'm talking from experience. Like, what happens next? What happens when they click submit?
When they click submit, it gets directed to city staff based on the type of request that the public submits. And it isn't as simple as just responding to that and it being done. Because there are so many potholes in the city, or there are so many sidewalks that need attention, or other things like that. So a lot of times we do have a long queue and sort of have to prioritize based on the staff that are available and have the expertise and knowledge to fix those things, and work that into our schedule that also has other projects that we're working on. So I think that it's always, folks ask, I've heard them, say, well, is anybody seeing my request when it comes through? And I would say yes. At least I'm the ones that come through to me and other folks that I've talked to, we do see those. And we do take them seriously. And I always emphasize to folks too, like, please continue to submit your requests that way. It's a really great way for city staff to track and identify trends and use that information that we get for planning efforts.
And funding.
And for funding,
because
too.
If we find out we've got so many potholes that need to be filled that we need to throw Public Works some extra funds to be able to do all the work in the next year. So
yeah, it's a great
way
tracking
to keep track.
tool.
So that was gonna be my question, because I don't want to throw hard questions your way, because I know you're doing the best that you can, and I appreciate you being here. But for listeners who might be frustrated because there's a pothole by their house and they hit it every day coming back from work, and let's say that you go through the process, you submit the thing, the request, or you simply say there's a pothole. It's not as simple as a little truck driving by just to fill it up immediately. Like, it would be great if it was a 24/7 service, but what I wanted to build up to was the frustration of, I submitted this 3 months ago, why is the pothole still here? And I think you answer that, like, it's beyond just putting it in the queue. It helps the city build a better future, or better streets for the future.
Yeah, and there are some, so also the pothole side of things, I can't speak to that super well because that is a different department, but we do get requests about, let's say, for instance, on Amboy Road, across from the climbing gym and the park, there is a pedestrian crossing, and we've gotten requests that the button or the light goes out. And we know that, and staff know that, but sometimes it takes time to order parts and equipment and get that stuff installed. So what looks like on our end, moving things forward, we understand that
from an outside perspective,
it's taking longer than folks want it to take. So.
Yeah, got it. And I know that crossing by heart. I used to work at that gym. So.
Oh, yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. So okay, so I hope that really helps listeners understand. Like, I know there's so many jokes and stereotypes of city employees and city work, and there might be some truth behind that, but the truth is a little different. It's not that we're not working; it's that it just takes time, and we cannot just, put a sticker on it and fix it right away. And super quick, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but why? So let's say that I make the submission, a few months go by, the pothole's still there. People should not try to fix it themselves.
Right.
No.
No.
Yeah.
And
trying to fix it yourself will usually create an issue where water will continue to seep in and erode underneath the roadbed and just make a bigger problem. So
leave it to
the professionals.
Which are not Anna and I.
No. Just for the record, again, Lucy and I are not the pothole folks at the city.
So if I, put you on speed dial, it won't come fit my pocket. Fix the potholes.
Unfortunately, I can't. Nope.
Oh well. Thank you so much for coming today.
Yeah, Sam, thanks.
And again, go to the College Patton Bike Lane project.
Just Google it.
Just Google it. Answer the survey. Really help us out. We want to do the best that we can, and the more you engage with us, the better the service will be at the end for the whole city.
That's right.
But yeah, thank you for being here again, and we'll see you next time in What's Up Asheville here at WRES 100.7 FM. Take care of each other, Asheville.
Thank
you.
You've been listening to What's Up Asheville, sponsored by the City of Asheville in collaboration with WRES 100.7 FM. This program will re-air every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12:30. Thank you for listening.